Should personal branding matter to developers? Welcome back to the Hello World Show. I'm Heather Downing.
I'm Spencer Schneidenbach.
And we're here with Christina Aldan. She is a speaker and a trainer and consultant. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be a part of your first season.
All right, so tell us, what made you want to even go down this path for your career? You could have chosen anything. Why did you choose this?
Oh, no, I didn't just like wake up one day and I was like, oh, this is my lifelong dream to be the owner of a digital advertising agency, you know, and service boutique. Even working with women, you know, I work a lot with women, but it just kind of naturally happened that way. No, my degree is in ecology and environmental sciences. I was a plant geek long before I was a computer geek. Yeah, and you know, working with the nonprofit world, gosh, I did a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, you know, communication and how we are representing ourselves in public and how companies are representing themselves as well, the messaging that they're putting out there was really what kind of evolved slowly in my world. And so here I am. I first started out doing websites on the side as a hobby because I really enjoyed it. But then it turned out that, you know, people would send me their logo and they say, Christina, I need a website. And I say, send me your examples of previous stuff and your logo. And they'd send me their logo would be green and their brochure would be red. And they'd say, build me a blue website. And I'm like, okay, hold on. We need some consistency here, right? And first of all, do you know what branding is? And so that's how I got more into like the branding world and how people are putting themselves out there. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
So,
wait.
What does? Yeah, that's your turn.
What were you going to ask, and then I'll just ask it.
Good.
You're just gonna be on the blooper reel.
Good.
All right. So, we have to ask her, like, what does branding mean? Isn't branding a strong identity of a person, place, or a thing? Like, maybe you should, so that we can get into why that's important for our audience.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
we are our audience advocate, because our audiences have no idea who you are or anything about this world. And so
right.
That's part of what we're introducing.
Why is branding important? Why is it important?
Like, what does branding mean to a developer?
Okay, good. Mm-hmm.
So tell us what branding means to a developer.
You know, branding for anybody really is how you represent yourself, how you present yourself and your brand. At any given moment, every single touch point, you are representing your company. I work with a lot of female entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of startups, and sometimes, or even people who are having trouble about maybe are they going to switch jobs, or you know, how do they make changes within their company? And they'll come to me, and I'll always start with, you know, your core values and what you're representing and what you're all about. Because if you're not showing that, or if you are showing that but it's mixed messaging, then you're going to get into a lot of trouble because there's no consistent brand that's being put forth. Are you about good design? Are you about simplicity? Are you about integrity? What are those core values, and how are they being represented throughout all of your messaging? Not just your website, not just your apps, but what are your employees saying about you? That is also branding, and it's a part of the user experience that your clients and your potential customers are going to be focused on.
All right, Christina, what are you going to teach us today?
I'm really excited to talk about branding today. I work with a lot of developers, female entrepreneurs, people who just want to be a little more visible, right? You want to get your name out there. Maybe you're ready to pick up some side projects or change jobs, whatever that is. And so I call it the Mr. Potato Head branding. Everybody's taking this Mr. Potato Head approach, and they don't have like a complete potato head. They might have like shoes, right? They might have blue shoes. They might have maybe just the face or the eyes, but they don't have a complete marketing strategy for their branding. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
And this is for developers.
This is for anybody who wants more visibility and creating a name for themselves, because your personal brand is very important. People want to know, are you a person who's trustworthy, right? They want to know, are you creative? Do you solve problems? And the way to do that is to market yourself, to create your own personal brand. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the Mr. Potato Head strategy for branding. So, you know, some people, they think they have a website and that's good enough. But your website is not good enough if nobody's visiting it, right? So it's important to have website SEO, search engine optimization, and there are a lot of different ways you can do that. You can use social media to funnel traffic to your website. You can have both on-page and off-page search engine optimization. The way that you name your images, the way that you write, you can use keyword phrases, backlinking. All of these things feed into your search engine optimization strategy, right? So people think, okay, great, well, I got a website. I'm good. I'm blogging. I'm good. No, you still don't have a complete Mr. Potato Head. So next, what I suggest that people do is they add on their LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a really, really good way to network professionally. In fact, it's the most popular place to network professionally. So having a LinkedIn profile that sucks is not going to help you at all. It's not going to help your branding strategy. So it's important to have different sections on your LinkedIn profile. You should have articles that you post regularly. You should also have a profile picture that's current, that's relevant, that's professional, right? Post topics and share things. You can also get into groups on LinkedIn. I take, probably 3 to 5 meetings a month with new people. I've met business partners, I've met clients, I've had a lot of good connections on LinkedIn, and I just take virtual meetings or even phone calls regularly. So if your LinkedIn profile sucks, that's another way to build up your Mr. Potato Head, right? So the other thing that we look at when we are building out our branding strategy is the social media part. There we go. Now we're getting a better picture, a better branding strategy with our Mr. Potato Head. So social media, with that, you can funnel traffic from social media to your website. You can create posts, you can create downloads on your website that are going to encourage people to go on your website and engage. You can create videos and then post stuff on social media and feed people back to your website. All of this stuff creates an online profile that is so much more clear in the picture that it presents for you, right? Professionally and also personally. So that's really cool. Lots of developers, they don't think about that kind of stuff. So the other thing that we can do is we can find your thing, right? Find your thing. And so what I mean by that is some people are writers, so you should be blogging. Some people are visual, so you could create a podcast, right? That's a visual learning podcast. Some people, they prefer doing things like interviewing. Some people prefer whatever that is, audio, videos, whatever that is, find your thing and then do it. And then just really, really rock that and put it on your website, share it to social media, add it to your LinkedIn profile. Now we're creating a much more complete picture and a much more complete branding strategy than if you're just doing one or two things, right? The next thing that you can do, people don't think about it, but press releases are very, very helpful. And so press releases are good, not necessarily for getting picked up in the news, but for the search engines, because when you have backlinks from government websites, from educational websites, from news websites, the algorithm significantly ranks those backlinks higher. So releasing a couple of press releases, for example, if you're going to be at a conference, announce that you were accepted. After you do the conference, announce that you did it, right? And it doesn't have to be, like I said, something really fancy that's going to catch the eye of the press or anything like that. It might get picked up, but it really, really helps with your SEO strategy. And again, that's the idea, is to create this online persona, right? This online branding, this online picture of what you're all about and your personal brand is all about. And the last thing, this stuff is really good. This is what brings in the money. All right? When you have a branding strategy that is actual face-to-face. We talked about this today in my talk. I did my user interface, user experience talk. And we talked about this today, about how, if you really, really want to connect with people, face-to-face is the new Facebook. Yeah. And so when you're at events like conferences or when you're at networking events, make sure that you have your personal pitch ready. And I historically have been horrible at this. And there's, you know how they say you teach what you need to learn, right? I historically have been horrible at this because I've been bad at promoting myself. And I think that a lot of times in the developer community, we see this. People want to be humble. People don't want to humble brag. People don't want, and you know what? You don't have to do that. Hi, I'm Christina Aldan, speaker, trainer, digital advertising consultant. It's very simple, right? It doesn't have to be bragging. It doesn't have to be overly promotional or anything like that. These are all my awards and I belong to, you don't have to get into all that. But if you consistently speak and introduce yourself that way, people will go, oh yeah, how's it going? Hey, this is Christina. She's a speaker, trainer, and digital advertising consultant. I always know that my branding is good. I always know that I have a clear picture, a full, complete Mr. Potato Head, if you will, when I hear my community come back to me with my own words. I know that I've been successful. And you know, in the digital advertising agency, in my world, in marketing and advertising, they used to say people need to see it 7 times before it actually sticks. Of those 7 times, they're going to ignore it 4 of those times, right? But 7 times, it's really important to repeat that and have that same brand consistency in that messaging. These days, it's 21 times because we have so many distractions, right? There's so many distractions. So those are my tips. You know, of course, there are always other things you can do, and there are more things, but these are my top things to get the most high impact with the least amount of, you know, money and effort that you can put in on your own. That's kind of natural to you, where you're speaking and you have a pitch, where you have your LinkedIn profile that's clean and professional. Maybe you have a podcast or you're blogging, whatever your thing is. And then, you know, sharing all that stuff on social media and your website. That's a really good way to have a complete personal brand for yourself and build a good name for yourself to be more visible. Mm-hmm.
And for developers specifically, having a good a GitHub profile, for example.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that would go into the social media, right? And making sure that as you are out there, that your code also speaks to your core values, right? And your coding style. Make sure that everything is consistent, because if your LinkedIn profile says you're very serious, and then I see you out at a networking event and you're not serious at all, now that's a little confusing for me. So having that consistent brand, maybe you are fun, maybe sometimes you are serious, but communicating that consistently is the key. That's the important part. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing
you
that
bet.
today.
Of course.
Tell us what questions you have for our guests. See you next time.